Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Great Sunday evening to you. Welcome you to Authors Up, and I thank everybody for joining tonight. This is a good program for you to share. You don't want to keep it to yourself. We've got some great information coming from a great author tonight, and we're so glad that you have chosen to join us. I see Nikayat is already in the house. Nikayat, a good evening to you. Glad to have you. Glad to have you. And my co-hosts are, of course, with me, my partners in crime. We got Ruth
Yes.
hiding up there. Ruth, how are you doing this evening?
I am well. How are you?
I'm hanging in there, lady. I am hanging in there. And Victoria, how are you doing?
I'm fine with my new and improved bookshelf.
Yes, yes, the queen is with us tonight, and she is ready to go, as they
Well,
say, ready to go. And we're going to go ahead and get started. We want to dive right in tonight because we really want to give our author as much of an opportunity as possible to talk to us about his book and his journey. And like I said, this is really, really one that you want to listen to very, very carefully. It's a wonderful. Well, I'm not going to even put a framework around it because there's so much within the story that he's going to tell us tonight. So we are glad that he is with us. But we're going to start like we usually do. We're going to talk about our week in review, let you know what's been going on with us. And we're going to start with Miss Victoria. Victoria, what was your week like?
last week was a little rough. I told a couple people when I punched in Friday morning, I already had 39 hours. So, we are in
We,
the throes of starting our fiscal shutdown, and it's been wild. You know how some people are, don't get their stuff in till the last minute, which means I had to key in more because I did a purchase orders and things like that, and so it's been rough. But I had a wonderful beginning to the week because my lovely friend and your lovely daughter Lynn was on my show, Living Life Victorious.
yes, what?
Oh, we had the best conversation. And yes, shameless plug. If you guys go back and watch the replay, we had a wonderful conversation. She dropped some really, really wonderful nuggets about how to live victoriously. And she just shared her experiences. And it was a very encouraging program. I'm telling you, it was one of those programs where I was smiling the entire time. My cheeks hurt. It was just really good, and I love doing the show, and I hope that people will just start to watch and just be inspired because that's what it's all about, inspiring folks. So that made me feel really good, and it gave me the fuel to go on for the rest of the week. And then this weekend, I didn't do as much as I said I was going to do, but I just relaxed and I went to a little birthday cookout, and now I'm here with my friends. So it's been a wonderful, wonderful weekend.
Awesome. Awesome. My week, rather, I should say, was productive as well. I got a lot done. I did a lot with the writing projects that I have. I finished my two little
Awesome.
pocketbooks. I finished my, I never get the lighting right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's starting with the light. It's the light.
I finished two of my little pocketbooks. One is called Another Way, and that came from 8 at 8, and the other one is the Story Point Issues. So I have to figure this out at some point in time.
Oh, I can see a little better right there. Right there is good. Issues. I see issues.
There's Issues, and the other little pocketbook is
There you
There
go.
you
There
go.
you
You got it.
go.
okay. All righty, all righty.
Right?
So
Good for you.
that should be another thing with my weekend review because it took me about as long to get those together as it did for me to try to show them tonight. But I didn't have a contest, but I had put something out to the 8 at 8 audience that said if anybody wanted a copy of Another Way, which was one of the victory verses, that I would be happy to send it to them. So that kind of put a press on me to get that one finished so that I could get it out and get it in the mail.
Please hold one aside for me. Thank you for
I
that.
will. I will. I will absolutely do that. So I got that all finished. Spent a good amount of time being quiet and seeking God for the next,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
wanting to be clear on what He wants me to do with the rest of this year in terms of personal things and professional things, and
Okay.
um, so I spent that kind of time. It was that kind of week for me, and I enjoyed it. Had a good day at church today, and Lynn and I went to lunch together, which where food is involved, I'm always a very happy person. Uh,
Okay, as long as it has some chicken on there, right?
the bird was involved. The royal bird is always involved. But
Funny.
we had a good time, just a good time visiting with each other, and
Good,
it was
good.
a good week and a good weekend.
Mm.
So making some progress on finishing the November project, writing project that we had. So it was inspiring and encouraging and altogether good. Altogether good.
Good.
Yeah. What about you, Ruth? What was going on in the Griffin world?
All right. And before I get to that, you realize, you were saying, you're looking ahead to the rest of this year. You realize we're almost halfway done
Yeah.
with 2024.
Yeah.
Wow.
Almost
Yeah.
halfway done.
Mm-hmm.
Just believe that there.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, no. So last weekend, my husband and I, and actually the kids, and my brother-in-law, his family, we got together to honor my father-in-law who passed away a month ago, and
Mhm.
just get all the grandkids together and even his great grandkids. And so we got to see them, got to see my kids all together for the first time in like years.
Oh,
um I hung out with my great nieces and nephew, who are 7, 7, and 10, and they were a hoot. Can I just say that? I haven't been around little kids a lot lately because obviously mine are older, but you do one thing well and they want to keep doing that and they want to keep hanging out. And younger parents are just, we're all there. You get tired, you're like, okay, just go sit down, go read a book, just
right.
we're fine. But no, of course, Aunt Ruth is like, oh yeah, let's play 26 games of Uno in, and not even 26, just one really long one. This was like the longest game of Uno I ever experienced in my life, but they had so much fun.
That's good.
And then my son-in-law went out of his way and taught them card games.
Oh.
It was funny because I didn't know that he had done that. So my great nephew was like, "I have a trick for you," and we thought, "Okay, he's gonna mess this up." And he did great. He chose the card that we had picked and all of that. And we were
Oh,
like, "Oh my
wow.
god, that's amazing!" He tried to do it again, and he was like, "Is this it?" I'm like, "No." "Is this it?" "No." So my son-in-law stepped back in, and he's like, "No, no, this is how I showed you last night." And they were like, "Oh, okay." So he was
Oh,
doing
and that
that
was the
part.
first time you had been together with your son-in-law, and since y'all
All
have
of
been
them, yes,
married. Oh,
yes.
that's
So
right.
it was a lovely get together, and we were in Michigan. And here's the funny part, um, because our guest was mentioning weather before we started. The forecast was actually for snow.
Mm.
Yeah, last week in Michigan.
Ooh.
So we did not get any, but it was cold. It was really cold. So we will
No.
not be going back to Michigan unless we have to.
Mm-mm. Keep
Mm.
that there.
Yeah. No, and they kept telling my husband, because my husband has had to go back to be with my father-in-law when he was still living, and every time he went
Mhm.
back up there, they had like a snowstorm, and they were like, "You're bringing it with you. Please stop." So, yeah, no, we're gonna do what we need to do, and I think we're done with Michigan. So.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, but that was my, and then, you come back, have to get back into the rhythm that you left off, and it's just here we are.
There you
Yeah.
So,
go.
and I think that's a good flow into where we are tonight, Victoria.
Yes, yes, yes. We have a wonderful author waiting in the wings, and let me read you a little bit about Mike Coy. Mike Coy, fueled by his father's parting words, make a difference, champions those hungry for success. A best selling author and keynote speaker, his journey gained depth through an unyielding fight against cancer, fueling his acclaimed book, I Chose Live. This battle solidified his pursuit of excellence. Beyond his stellar career as a registered financial consultant, Mike's accolades extend to a triumphant baseball journey, coaching luminaries like Drew Brees and offered a minor league contract with the New York Mets. Mike's empowering speeches stir audiences, infusing them with life changing strategies. He champions this belief: winners find a way, losers only find excuses for why they fail. All right. Well, when we come back after this short break, we will talk to Mike about his book and about his quotes. Hang in there. We'll be right back.
Awesome. Awesome. Good
Uh,
evening to you, Mike.
Welcome. Uh-oh.
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 I
There
broke
you
it.
go.
Oh,
Okay.
now you're back. All
You're
right. That's the fun
We
part
thought
about
we
a
broke
live show.
you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, Mike, welcome. Thank you for being on our show tonight.
Well, it's a pleasure. I really I appreciate this opportunity and thank you for having me.
Of course. Of
Welcome.
course. So we have you on tonight. We want to talk about your book, I Chose Live. So will you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, I've been a lifelong athlete, never been sick a day in my life, and I had gone through a pretty tough divorce. I got a call to this tremendous opportunity to move from Austin, Texas to Georgia to be the director of training and recruiting for the state of Georgia for Aflac Insurance. And just a tremendous opportunity for me. And so I just packed up and took off and actually moved to Kennesaw, a little suburb of Atlanta, just to stay out of that traffic as much as possible. And
Mm-hmm.
making that trip up and down from Atlanta to Columbus to home office, and was very active in the recruiting and training of new agents. And I started getting this sore throat, and it wasn't anything bad, but it was just kind of annoying. And one of the things that I bring out in the book is, and I try to preach when I speak on stage, is that men don't get checked. We don't go to the doctor.
Right.
And so I let this thing go for about 5 or 6 months, and finally
Wow.
went to the doctor. She checks me and she said, "Well, it's probably a sinus infection. Don't worry about it. I'll give you some antibiotics and it'll go away in a few weeks." Well, a few weeks went by, didn't go away. I went back and she said, "Well, I'll just up the antibiotics." Well, the problem is that I had a tumor the size of your fist at the base of my tongue, and all the antibiotics was doing was destroying my immune system.
Mm-hmm.
And on July 4th weekend, I got up, I went into the bathroom, and a lymph node had popped out of my neck and was out. And I said, "Well, that's not good." And so I took a picture of it and I sent it to an ear, nose, and throat doctor in Austin, really good friend of mine. We played men's senior baseball together. I coached his son, and he says, go see a specialist immediately. You got to quit screwing around with the primary. Go see a specialist. So I basically forced my way in to an appointment with the primary so I could get a referral to a specialist. And so 2 days later, I went to see the specialist. They did 5 needle biopsies in the neck, which is not a lot of fun. And but he was saying, "Look, don't worry about it. This is probably just a sinus infection. You're fine. So we'll give you a call." Taking a district up in Dalton, Georgia. I'd actually gotten a condo 15 minutes away in Chattanooga, Tennessee, because Tennessee doesn't have a state income tax. So I made sure my residence was there in Tennessee. And I got a phone call. Doctor wants to see you tomorrow at 2:00. Okay. So I drove back 2.5 hours, and he walks into the room and he just says the 3 words that no one ever wants to hear, and that is, "You have cancer." And then starting up the process of chemo, radiation, and all this kind of stuff. And I remember him saying that we've got you booked in the hospital on Sunday, 7 days, 7 nights. You're off for 2 weeks, 7 days, 7 nights, and then you'll have 12 outpatient chemo treatments, and you'll start radiation 35 treatments immediately. And I remember telling him, I go, "Wait a minute, what Sunday?" He goes, this Sunday coming up. And I said, "I can't do that. I just took a brand new district. I'm hiring people. I'm working." I said, "I'm moving into my condo. That doesn't work for me. What is plan B?" And the man looked at me and he said, "You die."
Wow.
And I went, "All right, well, let's go back to plan A here. And let me see if I can."
Wow.
And so that's really for somebody, again, that's never been sick a day in his life. It's like, wow, how did this happen? I mean, I'm not a smoker. I'm not a drinker. I've never done drugs. How in the world do I get a HPV basal tumor at the base of my tongue that I allowed to grow to a stage 3 cancer that, I mean, I would think it should have been caught much earlier, and it wasn't. But again, I think that's me kind of forcing the issue just a little bit of saying something is wrong. And
Yes.
like I said, I've never been sick before, and so what's going on? And then, of course, when you got to the specialist, then you find out what's wrong.
Right.
Wow.
So, your book obviously details your journey through the cancer, but it's much more than that. It is about choices, isn't it?
Oh, there's no doubt about it. I remember I was going through my chemo and my treatments, and I remember going out on the balcony one beautiful, beautiful day in Chattanooga, and my balcony overlooked the Chattanooga River, and the wind was picking up, and it was a beautiful, it was a hot summer day, and I felt something on my arm, and I looked down, and there was a clump of hair, and
Oh my.
I saw hair going everywhere, and so I just took my fingers and started going through my
Oh
my
God.
head, and every hair on my head came off. And it's one of those things that I think more than I got my hair back now. That's all I cared about. I didn't care about the tumor anymore.
It is
I
beautiful.
wanted my hair back. And but just to stand on that balcony and see your hair everywhere, that's when I think the reality of everything came together. And I went back inside and I sat down in my chair and I was flipping through the channels, and the movie Shawshank Redemption came on. Just a brilliant movie. And Tim Robbins had only been in Shawshank for about 6 weeks, and he'd already been beaten and abused and
Yes, Lord.
raped and everything. And he was out in the yard talking to the great Morgan Freeman, who played this character, Red, that had been in Shawshank for 40 years. And Tim Robbins says, this place is a living hell. How could you be here for 40 years? And Morgan Freeman looked at him and he said, life is about choices. You either get busy living or you get busy dying.
Yeah.
And I assure you, ladies, that's when this light went off in my mind, in my head. I turned off the TV. I got up, I went over to my desk, and I started writing the book I chose, Live.
Wow.
Well,
Wow.
now it's also, and again, I think this is progressive too, because you made a good point in the book. So this is now part of your mission, where you wrote, it's about getting the word out to men in particular about cancer awareness. Go get checked.
Well,
Colon
yeah,
cancer and prostate cancer are easily treatable and curable if found early. And my father-in-law actually did have prostate cancer, and he did have it. He was checked. So it could have been a different story, but women do such a better job going in. That's why the death rate for men with cancer is 50% higher. That's why women outlive men by an average of 7 to 9 years. Men, women get checked, men don't. Women live, men die. What is wrong with this picture, gentlemen? And then there was cancer. Mine.
Mhm.
So,
yeah, and that's something that I bring out 2 points whenever I speak, and I brought it out in the book. Number one, stress is the silent killer.
mhm.
Wow.
Stress will reduce your immune system. It will put you in a state that sometimes can lead to tremendous depression, and so stress is the silent killer. Number two is that men don't get checked. And so whenever I'm giving the talks, I really depend on the women in the audience to please get your man to the doctor. Okay, whether it's a spouse or a father or brother, uncle, whoever it might be, because like you said, it's our death rate is 58% higher than women. When we finally do go to the doctor, uh, it's normally stage 4, and our life expectancy is between 180 and 222 days.
Wow.
I think about the great Toby Keith. I've got a red dirt Texas country band called Posse, Mike Coy Posse, and we do charity events, and I get up and just make a complete fool out of myself, and I just to raise money. And but I think about the great Toby Keith. Toby Keith thought that he had indigestion. He
Mm.
thought he had an ulcer. And this went on for 3 years. And he
Oh, wow.
goes and gets checked, and he dies within 6 months of the
Wow.
diagnosis. And there again is that with colon cancer and prostate cancer, there's no easy cancer. And
Mhm.
Andre, I know that you've been through it, and Victoria, but the bottom line is that if you go get checked and it's checked early, then you've got a much simpler process of getting this taken care of and
Yes.
getting it done. And I really, when I, again, with my speaking gigs and when I'm talking, I really try to hone in on the men to get checked. And I'll tell you a story. I play this men's senior baseball. I still think I'm 25 years old. And probably I
You.
moved, I moved from Austin. Elizabeth and I moved 4.5 years ago to Colorado Springs just to get out of the heat and humidity of good old Austin, Texas. But I was playing men's senior baseball. I was on third base one day, and the third baseman, Jimmy, really good guy, uh, he said, "Hey, Coy," he said, "my wife made me read your book." And he said, "I went and had a colonoscopy." He was 56 years old. Now, you're supposed to get that colonoscopy at 50. He was 56
Right.
years old. And he said, and they found 3 precancerous polyps that were removed. And he said, but if I would have waited
Yes.
another 2, 3 years, it would
Yes.
have been full blown colon cancer. And he said, so I just want you to know you saved my life.
Oh,
Wow.
And I said, Jimmy, no, 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 no. You saved your life because it's the act of doing.
Yeah.
It is you taking charge, making that choice. I'm going to go get checked. And so, and I mean, and today, I see him every once in a while, and he's doing great. Everything is fine. But it all boiled down to making that choice of going to the doctor.
Hmm.
Mm.
That's right. That's right. All
Wow.
right, let's switch gears a little bit and talk about your writing journey, because you said you're watching that film, you got up, you started writing it. you've written before, you've written after. How was that particular journey for you, writing down your journey
Well,
with
yeah, I mean, because when I wrote Incredible Business, that was strictly about stop the selling insanity, and it was all business related.
Mhm,
When I wrote A Random Act of Kindness just during COVID, that was a true short story from Chicken Soup for the Soul.
mhm,
And it's called A Simple Gesture by John Slattery. And I took that story and I made it my own. But this one, what is so different is that this was personal.
right.
This was about me, again, for the first time in my life, ever being really sick. And sitting down, and the thing about it is that I was about halfway through telling my story about my baseball adventures and getting that contract offer from the Mets, and then getting into coaching and everything, and I just stopped, and I called my daughter in Austin, who's my biggest fan, my biggest critic, also my editor. She cuts out. She says, "You can't say that." Oh, okay, thanks. And uh,
Thank you.
and I said, Jennifer, I said, I think this is a total waste of time. I mean, it's probably decent therapy for me. I said, but nobody cares about my life. Nobody cares about this my journey with cancer. And she said, Dad, you have a story to tell, so tell it. And
Amen. Yeah.
that gave me the inspiration to say, you know what? And all of you are very aware of this, is that if you can just touch one life,
Come
Yes.
on.
one
Come on.
person, you've done your job. And
Yes.
uh, and this all really starts out when the last words my father said to me before he passed away was, "Son, make a difference." Now I feel like that he was an old beat up high school football baseball coach and a layman disciple of Christ minister. And I felt like he was talking to me about all the coaching and helping the young men and stuff that I was working with. And now, after the cancer, I really believe that it's become a much different mission, a much deeper mission and path for me to try to get the word out as much
Yeah.
as possible that cancer is real. It
Mhm,
doesn't, it has no color barrier. It doesn't matter if you're rich, you're poor.
Yes.
It has, I mean, it is still the most expensive disease out there. Now,
Yep.
Alzheimer's is catching up,
Oh, yes, sir.
but bottom line is that if you can take the steps to have that preventive medicine that can catch this early, then you're going to have a much easier time than uh, than probably what I had.
Well, let me ask real quickly, just throw in there. How has the reception for your book been? And how's the book doing?
Well, I mean, actually, it's when I do my speaking gigs, when I am talking at a corporate event or being a keynote speaker, uh, I bring books with me, and the response is overwhelming. I
Wow.
mean, people wanting me to sign the book, wanting the pictures and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and but on my website, I was thinking that more people would be comfortable enough to go to the website. I
Mhm.
chose live.com, go to the website, and they could see the different books. They can see the different merchandise that I have. I have shirts. I chose live and things like this. And that's been much slower than the when I'm actually doing the speaking, and I enjoy the speaking very much. But from the standpoint of comparing the speaking gig sales versus the website sales,
Mhm.
it's night and day, just night and day.
Okay. Wow. Well, I can see why. Definitely, after listening to you and hearing how you speak about it, telling your story, it's such much more personal, and it's putting, like, even us. I read the words, but hearing you talk about it is so much more heartfelt than just reading your story. So I'm pretty sure that's why.
Yeah,
Thank
I agree. I agree.
Thank you
You
for
know, one
that.
thing I want to talk about on the preventive side is that I helped with the Atlanta Independent School District with their enrollment 1 year. And there was this cute little kindergarten teacher. She was like, I think 31, 32 years old, great personality. And she says, I want to know if I need to get the cancer policy. And she said, my husband works for the state. We have great insurance. And he's saying that I don't need to do that because we have great benefits. And I said, well, uh, I said, why would you think about the cancer policy? And she said, well, my grandmother died of breast cancer.
Mhm.
My mother is in remission with breast cancer. And I have a feeling I'm just worried about me and my sister. And I said, well, look, that's up to you. But I know that with my cancer, how this plan really stepped in and took care of some out of pocket expenses that for me over $26,000 of out of pocket expense was
Wow.
taken care of with my cancer plan. And I bought that cancer plan years ago because I'm out in the sun a lot, and I was worried about skin
Skin
cancer.
cancer.
And I've had 2 or 3 skin cancers, and so it's a very smart move for me. But I had no idea I was going to get full blown throat cancer. Okay,
Wow.
but I told her, I said, the thing about it is it's very inexpensive. It's something that I hope you never have to use, but if
Mhm.
you do, it's there.
Right.
And so she said, well, I've got to have a physical in a couple of weeks. And she said, do you think I should get a mammogram? And I said, well, sure. I said, with cancer in your family, why not?
Right.
And she called me a couple of weeks later and she said, uh, they won't pay for the insurance, won't pay for the mammogram because I'm not 40 years old. And I said, well, how much is a mammogram? And she
Oh,
said, $150. I said, well, look, you get $100 of a wellness check from Aflac for your cancer plan. So it's
yes.
going to cost you $50 to get your mammogram. She got her mammogram. They found what they called a shadow behind her left breast. They went in, they took it out, no problems, no chemo, no nothing. But the oncologist told her if she would have waited 8 more years before she had that mammogram,
Yes.
she would have had full blown breast cancer. Excuse me. And it would have spread everywhere.
Oh, wow.
So again, you never know. What if, right? What
Right.
if?
Right. Right. Right.
Yes.
You okay?
My
Andrea?
saliva glands, the radiation destroyed my taste
Okay.
and my saliva glands. And so I have to always continuously drink just because my saliva glands are shot.
Oh, wow.
That's fine. Take your time. Take your time. Thank you so much. You've really given a lot of information for us, for anybody listening. It's really, really, I'm just blown over. Really, just blown over. And I know how humbling it must be when you hear somebody say that. I was having that conversation with someone earlier today, just today, about my writing and anything I say or my show or this show. When you have one person who says that really touched me, then we know we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. So I definitely appreciate you saying that, because it's just when I hear stuff like that, it's just confirmation that we are doing the right things, that we're on the right path.
But
Mhm.
and the one thing that I have found is the receptions that I've gotten from some of the area churches that have asked me to come in and speak. I can speak to the Rotary Club and I can
Right.
speak to the Lions Club and I always do AFLAC events and stuff like this. But the greatest responses that I have had have been with some of the and some of them are really mega churches, 5, 10,000 people, but to bring me in because I will also do some music with my gigs. And but the churches have been I feel like the most responsive because they care about their congregation and they
Yes.
want them to know this.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And I really appreciate.
Yes.
I'm going to be speaking in just a couple of weeks in Denver
Oh,
at a church where I got an invitation to speak. and just tell my story.
Yeah.
And that's all I do is I just want to tell my story. And like I said, if I can just reach one person, then I know I've done my job.
Is that you play the guitar? Is that the guitar behind you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Hey, and guess what? Guess what my theme song is now?
What?
"Don't Let the Old Man In" by Toby Keith.
Oh.
This came from the movie The Mule with Clint Eastwood.
Yes.
Yes.
And they were playing in a celebrity golf tournament, and Clint Eastwood's talking about he's going to go do this movie. He's going to be in Texas for 6 months doing this movie. And Clint Eastwood and Toby Keith said, I don't mean to be rude, but how old are you? And Clint Eastwood said, I'm getting ready to be 89.
Yes.
And he said, how do you do that? And Clint Eastwood looked at him and said, I just don't let the old man in. And Toby Keith went back to the hotel room that night and wrote this beautiful ballad.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Well, honestly, I didn't know that part. That part's not in your bio that you sung. So,
I just love. I'm just a ham. I'm just an entertainer.
Mike, I've got a quick question for you, and I hope that I can phrase it correctly. There's a part in the book that you where you talk about the dream job. I mean, this offer that you got that would have been the dream job for you, and the individual was saying to you, if this is something that you want to do, you'll be here in the morning. And you will, sign this contract, and you'll be on your way. And something happened, of course, and you weren't able to do that. You know the part that I'm talking about? Yep.
Right.
I want you to talk a little bit about that, because there's so much. We sometimes wait for things that we think is the dream, the answer. Nothing's going to get in my way. I finally am at the place that I thought I always want to be. And life interrupts that plan.
Mm-hmm.
But there were choices that you made at that time. But what I don't find at all, and I know that you probably had your ups and downs. I think anybody that deals with cancer does. But you managed to maintain that part of the quote that says, I'm going to be busy living, in the things that you were confronted with during this time. How did you feel when you had to make that choice, when you were at that place of saying, I got it, cancer, whatever, but I've got this dream job. I finally got what I wanted, and I'm going to be off, and I'm going to be attacking it, and I'm going to do it. And you did not get to do that. Can you tell us just a little bit about that story?
Yeah, it was. I had some a lot of times luck comes into the picture. Okay. I was a district sales coordinator for Aflac in Dalton, Georgia. When I took that position, Dalton, Georgia led the country in unemployment at 26%. No one wanted that position. I took the position mainly because there's a competitive nature. I love the challenge. We jumped in there. And the reason is because all of the rug companies were there. Shaw Industries, Mohawk, all of that. And they had gone through horrible with recession and things like this. And I just, sometimes it's the old saying that you have to grab the bull by the tail and face the situation. And so what I did is that I grabbed the bull and I said, we're going to make this work. And one of my agents, her husband was the comptroller for Shaw Industries, huge rug making company in Dalton. And we were able to get in there, write Aflac, and wrote $1.3 million of what they call AP, which is your production. And just out of nowhere, this lightning bolt hit, because if you can be a steady 250, 300,000 AP guy, you're doing okay. Well, because of this introduction, and we got in there and wrote this huge case, all of a sudden I'm the golden boy. All of a sudden I'm this it said, you're God, not the God, but you're God, right? Okay, with Affleck.
Mhm.
And I said, guys, you have to understand, I don't even know which door to go into at Shaw. This is this agent whose husband is the comptroller. I mean, it was just set up for us. And but as a result, uh, I was coming off the cancer. I was we had just completely turned this whole district around, and when the market director of the South at the time of the they called it the Southeast market, came to me and said, "We want you to be a territory director, and we want you to take it. You're going to have all these agencies. You're going to be on top of all of this, and this is going to be a huge promotion. You're going to make all this money, and we just think that you are the man for the job." And sometimes you allow your ego to overload your rear end. Okay, and I had one of my closest friends, a mentor who happens to be in the Aflac Hall of Fame, take me to the side because I went to him with it and told him about the offer. And he said, "Be careful. You like doing things your way. That's not going to happen if you take this job. You like to go coach. You like to go snow ski. You like to go do things. That ain't going to happen if you take this position. I'm telling you, it's going to be like a buddy of mine selling cars. He makes a lot of money, but this guy works 60, 70, 80 hours a week." And I said, coming off my cancer, that's not something I wanted to do.
Right.
And they wanted me to sign a 2-year contract. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go back to Austin. I am going to start over again. I just want to be my own person. And I said, I've got a 6-month-old grandson in Austin that doesn't know me, and I have not walked my daughter down the aisle yet.
Come on.
And I said,
Come on.
so thank you, but I'm turning it down. And about 3 months later, my original contract was up at as far as January the 1st, and I went back to Austin, and now I've got 3 grandsons that probably wish they didn't know me. And,
That's not true. I know that's
yeah,
not true.
and my daughter, I walked her down, and she's giving me this beautiful granddaughter,
Oh,
and
Oh.
and the bottom line is that sometimes you have to have you got to make a choice.
Yes.
And at that point in my life, I will tell you that my kids will tell you my life is clearly defined ACBC, after cancer and before cancer.
Right.
And now I am at much more peace with my life, with getting remarried to a unbelievable lady, and putting myself in a position to live my life where I can play for 2 teams with men's senior baseball. Last Friday, I went snow skiing at Monarch Mountain Friday and Saturday because they were closing the mountain on Sunday. My life is so complete right now without all of the stress, without all of the strain. Yes, I could be making. There's no doubt I could be making more money by staying in Georgia and doing these things and stuff. But for me,
Yes.
actually, it was an easy decision.
All right. All right.
It's
Y'all
one-
heard it. Get the book. Get the book. And throw that in. Get the book.
Mike, I tell you, you've actually given us a lot to think about tonight, beyond getting checked and beyond, dealing with stress and just taking care of yourselves in general, yourself in general. I know that there are some of the people who are on the line tonight have sons and are some are married, and it's some just got brothers and things. And I hope that they take what you have said seriously
Yes.
and make it a point, if they can, to go back and listen to this program. We will re-air on Saturday at 7 p.m. So if they weren't able to come on tonight, you weren't able to share tonight, I encourage you to have them to listen to Mike and his story. And as Victoria said, get the book, because these choices, not just for cancer, but life
Life.
choices, are so very, very important.
Yeah.
And we are just so glad that you made the choice that you did, Mike, all around, and that you were able to write your story and come on this evening and tell your story. It has been a joy having you. It has been informative having you on the program. And like I said, you've given us an awful lot to think about. You can get busy living, or
Yeah. Get
you
busy dying.
get busy dying. I chose live. I thank you. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. Is there any final thought that you'd like to leave with us and our listeners before we shut down?
I just remember writing the book. I got an earlier quote of Mark Twain saying, "There's two special times, very important times in your life:
Right.
the day you were born and the day you figured out why you are here. What is your purpose?
Yeah.
What are you supposed to be doing?" And I really believe that if you allow yourself, you allow your faith, if you allow yourself to help people and to give that, that's all that's what you ladies are doing, and that's what all I'm trying to do is live up to what my father said to me. Again, the last words were, "Son, make a difference," and that's all I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
Well,
And you are succeeding.
Doing it. Yes.
you're definitely succeeding. And that is something for all of us to think about. Making a difference has a lot of different faces. You can
Oh
make
yeah.
a difference in a lot of different ways. And Mike has certainly exemplified that this evening with his book and with his story and the things that he has shared with us. Mike, thank you so much. Our thoughts and prayers will be with you as you continue on this journey, because you definitely are making a difference, making a
Amen.
difference. Ruth, you always close us out with how to find us, where to go to look for us, and all that good stuff. So,
Of course. So we are on social media. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Just search for Authors Up Show. You can find replays of our previous shows. And you can also, we are also have a podcast. Again, search Authors Up Show on your favorite platform. You can email us at authorsup@gmail.com. Shoot us an email. Let us know what your thoughts are. If you have comments, any questions, if you'd like to know how to be on our show, happy to respond to you. We are also, like Andrea said, we have replay of the show on Saturday on Facebook. If you guys are Facebook, if not, again, download our podcast, or you can find us on YouTube in the live section. So that's it.
good job, Ruth. You do such a good job. That is it for us for tonight. Thank you all for joining. And again, those of you who did not have an opportunity to share, we're out there. So be sure that you let someone know that to take care of themselves. Just
Yes.
take care of yourself. And there
Right.
are lots of different ways to do that. And Mike has certainly shared some with us tonight. So that is it. I thank you all for being with us. This is our favorite place to be on Sunday evenings at 7.
Really is.
We hope that you will begin to make it yours as well. And I tell you, you got to come back, because you never, ever know what is is going to happen when you tune into Authors Up. So we'll be right back here on Sunday night at 7 p.m. And we certainly hope that you will come back and join us again. So that's it for the evening. Mike, again, thank you so, so much for
Yes.
being with us.
Thank you.
Hope we see you next week. Have an absolutely awesome week, everybody. See you soon. Take care.
Good night,
Night.
Bronze Girls.